Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the JEROMESTRIKEBEATS Podcast. The JEROMESTRIKEBEATS Podcast is brought to you by nobody. But soon. Hello, fam. Happy Thursday, and welcome to another edition of the JEROMESTRIKEBEATS Podcast, the JSB Pod for short. Hashtag tunein. We're coming to you live on it's not live. I'll upload it tonight. It might take a couple hours, but we're here. It's as live as it can get. It's a little bit of a delay, but we'll make it happen. We'll bring it out to you. So, yeah, this is episode 4. Last time I had a guest, my wife, on. It was a really fun conversation, so you should check that out. It's episode 3 with @Haley. Now, you can find me on all the social medias. My Instagram is JEROMESTRIKEBEATS, @JEROMESTRIKEBEATS, that is. And my Twitter handle is @JEROMESTRIKE. No beats on Twitter. Now, first I'd like to talk about a couple of things in the news. First of all, Australia. I was thinking about Australia. There's a lot of devastating photos that have kind of come back from all the brush fires out there. I'm not quite really informed on it, but it's just a very, very sad way to start the year. It's been apparently the driest season they've ever had. And so a lot of, their animals are dying. Something like 1 million animals have died. I don't know if that's the correct number, but it's a lot. And it's a lot of, unique endangered species out there. It's, you got koalas, you got kangaroos, you got wombats, wallabies. Don't let me get into my Australian accent because it's not the time. But g'day, mate. Prayer for Australia. It would be beautiful to see them kind of, get more rain, get more support from us. I've been hearing that we should have sent the troops out there to fight fires instead of to fight Iran, which is another thing in the news that's going on. So yeah, just keep Australia in your thoughts and prayers. If you got the money, donate, whatever you can. I think I saw something on Facebook, like Ellen DeGeneres organized relief for the Australian fires. So there's a lot of good support, hopefully coming to them because they really need it. And you never know how it happened. People are saying it was natural causes, but people are also saying there was arson. I wouldn't be surprised if the arson was the case. It's very sad, but I digress. I'm also a pyrotechnic, so it's like I grew up being fascinated by fire and loving to sit next to the fire. So maybe I'm the wrong person for this conversation, but I don't know. We might. So like I said, there's a lot of memes going around that we might be in war. It's I don't know. This is not a political show, but I want to address it because hopefully we're talking about Donald Trump. They want Donald Trump's head. They don't want Americans to be killed. There's a lot of people clarifying death to America as to be directed only at Trump, which a lot of us can agree with over here. It's like George Lopez said something really funny where he was like, we would do it for half, which is hilarious that he could say that. Speaking of hilarious that you could say something and that things that might be offensive, Ricky Gervais, I used to really listen to a lot of Ricky Gervais. I love his topics on his bits on religion and God and stuff like that. He always had a really interesting point of view. But he kind of made the news. He went viral with his Golden Globes speech. And the best part of that speech was that he was talking to all of the people that he was ridiculing, and he was kind of, you could see the uncomfortable look on their faces. Tom Hanks did not want to be there. You did not see any laughs from a lot of the celebrities. And it was amazing. And he was taking shots at everything, from Apple to ISIS to, you would like call your agent if ISIS set up a streaming service. He implied a lot of different things. He opened with a couple really good jokes. One about Felicity Huffman creating his license plate on the limo because she's in jail. Or I don't know if she's in jail, but she should be because of college scandals. In which that was a really weird time because it was a lot of like influencers who were amidst all that scandals. I can't remember. Anyway, I don't want to get into too much. But yeah, a lot of influencers kind of faked their way through college, and they would just post about it. They would just kind of like be a brand ambassador, but they're like quote unquote going to school, but they didn't really show up to class or anything. They just kind of did what they wanted, which is like post on Instagram. I don't know. We live in strange times, folks. There's a lot of, so I wanted to give a shout out to Ricky Gervais. I applaud him for, telling it like it is, kind of letting people know that it's bullshit. A lot of perspectives that you hear are bullshit. First burp. I think we should do a drinking game. Every time Donnie burps on the podcast, you got to take a shot or take a drink or something. You'd get hammered by the first 15 minutes of any episode. Or says I'm working on saying a lot. Sipping my coffee. It's made from sink water because we're out of bottled water, which is kind of strange to say that, I only drink bottled water. The tap is not sufficient for my water needs. It's kind of like that though. When we live in America, you got to have like, ridiculous things like paper towels and stuff like that, a lot of people in a lot of parts of the world can't afford, like basic necessities like toilet paper or paper towels or bottled water. But we take these things for granted, like we need it, which is in some cases when you have, 6 pets like we do, you need some paper towels. We got a rabbit who likes to poop in the corners of our house, as rabbits do. So a lot of things going on this week. I wanted to talk a little bit of music and business. The weird part about my journey is that I didn't realize I was going to have to become a spokesman or a brand ambassador for my product. And I was going to have to create a brand for myself, for my music, because it doesn't make sense. You don't think of yourself as a brand. You think of yourself as a person, a talent, someone with skills to offer. But it does come down to that. It comes down to what you have to offer and what you have, to bring value. I've heard a lot of that. I think I've mentioned it on the podcast before, but that's a really important thing to keep bringing up, the value of yourself and how you bring value to people is really important as how you come off on the internet. And you can't become, and a lot of commerce is taking place on the internet, and a lot of people are making a lot of money off of, beat sales, off of sample packs, off of different things like that in the music business. Some people are making money off podcasting, I believe, because of sponsorships, and, if anybody wants to sponsor the podcast, I can change up the intro and make that happen. So yeah, a lot of interesting insight into music that I'm just constantly learning day to day. It's gotten me in touch with a lot of really, really cool ass people. And I'd like to shout out cool ass people from ATL. They just put out a really cool sample pack based on their song called World Spinning. You should check out that song, and you should check out their sample pack. They seem like really, really, cool ass guys. And we've kind of exchanged a lot of love on social media, and they're really good at, with motivation and helping with, actually listening to my stuff and kind of giving me a voice, which is really cool. They've kind of come out of nowhere and helped me in a lot of ways, and becoming the producer I am becoming, which is really, really fun. I recently did a remix to World Spinning, in which I do a little bit of a hook. Starting to sing again, which is going well. It's really fun to kind of sit down and come up with melodies with your voice, come up with lyrics. A lot of these are works in progresses. I'm learning a ton every day. That's really the bottom line. I'm learning. I'm a constant student. I consider myself a student of the world. I'm never gonna know everything. I'm never going to not want to learn anything, not stop being curious. I'm never, hopefully, never going to stop evolving. That's really important. You need to kind of understand that life is a journey. It's not a race. And it's your competition is not other people. Your competition is not the success of other people. His loss is my victory, or whatever. It's not, if they fail, that means you win. That means you're doing better than they are. It doesn't work like that. It's kind of, you have to take control of your own destiny, basically, and you have to take care of yourself in every aspect, whether it is your mental health, your physical health, what you're eating, your routines, and it influences your product. It influences who you are. Drink. That was just bad. And I'm learning the whole stream of conscious part of podcasting, which I really enjoy. Hopefully I didn't make any weird noises with the microphone. But I'm just, I'm learning as I go along too. This is the 4th episode, my 3rd solo one. So I'm learning a lot of how to keep it going, how to keep you guys entertained. I listen to a lot of podcasts for inspiration. I love the Joe Rogan Experience. He had a really funny episode come out right outside of New Year's that talked about everything from Jeffrey Epstein to Iran to, to whatever. You got to check that out too. But that's not important. I wanted to now read a tweet that I received online. Let me pull it up. Somebody tweeted this really, really, really great thing that kind of has stuck with me and kind of really, kept me motivated and really excited this week. Now this is from Cutie Tsogo. If I said that right, I hope I did. And he says, I spent the whole night enjoying myself. Traktrain.com by JEROMESTRIKE. Brother had me running. Tracks in my seat, and I just can't get enough. If it's love, I found it. Keep up, bro. I salute. And that's a tweet that I haven't received ever, in terms of that kind of support and that kind of love from someone who I'd never met before, who kind of has come out of nowhere and really, really kind of just, that tweet meant a lot. Just like stuff like that. If you ever, if you have an artist that you really love, or an up and coming artist who doesn't, because we're all like this. We don't, see ourselves as a success until way past. a lot of times. It's really hard, a lot of producers overthink things, and they think they're not good enough, and they think they're not doing well, or they think they have to be making a beat at all times when, you don't have to. You can take breaks. You can take, moments to yourself. But also know that love is really powerful, and it really is, it can transform. It can change people's lives. And so, yeah, I've been in contact with this guy. He is from Botswana, Gaborone, Botswana, if I said that right, hopefully. And he's got an interesting profile picture. His bio is funny. Am a weapon, but I can't kill you. Workaholic, self-driven, optimistic, entrepreneur, future mogul. So I like where this guy's head's at. He kind of seems really cool. He actually sent me a couple demos of his rapping, and it kind of blew me away. It was really good. He raps in English in his own language, which is in his native language, which is really, it's a lot. There's a lot of that, and I think that's the new wave. Like if you listen to, Joyner Lucas or D Smoke, there's a lot of interpolating Spanish and English or other languages into your raps, and it's kind of, and it's becoming mainstream, which is really cool to see. And so this guy is kind of, he has the ability to become this, the next big thing. And it's really cool, to be in contact with someone. And it's fascinating because you don't think of the internet as a powerful tool, a powerful way to connect, a powerful way to transform lives, to speak to people on a mass scale that can make people happy, and that can kind of bring joy to people. And music is one of those things. I mean, music is really important, but the creation of the internet has kind of allowed music to evolve in a certain way where it's real time. It's a lot of it is real time, showing you my beat as I'm making it. Like people taking a video of their DAW is really popular. People photoshopping Fruity Loops onto, a Game Boy or something is really popular, and it's pretty ridiculous. People, someone had a funny tweet about that today. They were like, people keep photoshopping Ableton onto Game Boys, and they think it's hilarious every time. And I'm guilty of that. I used to think it was funny. It's one of those things where it's a lot of it's effective marketing. It's good to kind of get your chops looking good, as if you're working on beats all the time. You're not playing video games, you're working on beats. Baby burp. Drink. So that's like 3. You should be hammered by now. So yeah, that was Twitter. That was kind of one of the highlights of my social media this week. Kind of a lot of love. Love is the easiest of the ways to show support, to show any sort of way that you're feeling. If you project love, that's what I believe comes back to you. Like, it really is a powerful mindset, but it kind of makes sense. And it makes sense that if you, at the same token, if you project hate, if you project negativity, then that's what you get in return. And you're stuck in either of these two realms, and you have to kind of decide where your head is at, and you have to decide how you're going to look at things every day. It's really interesting to me, the ways. So as an artist, it's really comes down to support and your artist friends, and it means a lot. I don't think people realize how much it means to support in any way, whether it's social media, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, all the social medias, whether it's just a comment or if you're gonna. So I wrote a list. So ways to be supportive: respond to DMs. That's a big one. people leave me on scene a lot, like almost an offensive amount. It's very sad when I reach out to someone, and if it's my Traktrain link or something, I understand where you don't, if you don't fuck with it, you don't fuck with it. But if it's someone I know, or someone I know is on Instagram all the time, and their green bubble keeps popping up on the screen, like what are you doing? Like, why don't you message me back? Like, I thought we were homies. I thought we were gonna exchange some beats or something. It's really interesting, yeah, when people won't even give you their email, or when you seem to be in dialogue with someone, or when someone expresses interest in what you do, it only makes sense that if you reach out to them, they'll reach back out to you. And so I don't know, I get a lot of weird, odd vibes from that, where I don't know if, it almost seems as if they're like haters in disguise in a way. I don't want to pinpoint anybody or name names or anything. It's not anyone in particular. It's just I come across this a lot where they seem all interested. You can kind of tell they're interested in what you do, and they want to probably be who you are, or there's a version of that where they want to. There's that complex where they want to be whatever, the best version of whatever you're trying to be, and it's like you kind of can't think that way. You kind of gotta like be your own person, and I'm gonna use a lot of metaphors now, but you gotta forge your own path. You gotta kind of listen to the sound of your voice and your music and your own drumming. You have to pay attention to what you want to do, and like, why are you even in this why are you even in this to begin with? Are you trying to prove someone wrong, that that they're wrong, that they're not doing what you're doing, and you're not a failure to them, and so you want to show them up? No, that shouldn't be what you're doing. That shouldn't be your motivation to do anything. It's very sad that people, and people have a lot of negative energy that they have to deal with. They have to deal with from their parents, from their teachers. Sometimes if you don't have a good teacher, it's kind of, you get someone who's really jaded and really has nothing good to say. And then you can also have good teachers who the possibilities feel limitless, and you can learn a lot. But there's just like, you can be friends with people who are, you consider them great friends or something, but there's something a little off. You can kind of tell when someone's not being real. And it's very weird. I was listening to Eminem's If I Had, which is a classic song off the Slim Shady LP. And he kind of breaks it down. He's like, friends, what are friends? Friends are people that you think are your friends, but they're really your enemies in secret identities to disguise their true colors. And it's really, this is early M, but he had really, he had these demons. He had people around him that were kind of probably being negative and probably naysaying his rapping career at an early age, and probably telling him he couldn't do it, probably telling him that, he was trash. His raps were trash, or whatever it is. You got to take that shit out to the curb. I don't know if anybody has a burping remedy. I'm not trying to be rude. That's why I turn my head away and there's a slight, silence, but that's not my intention. So anyway, eliminate the negative energy out of your life. That's what I'm looking to say. You have to pay attention. You have to pay attention where it exists in your brain, or, in people who, you have to live around and have to deal with. But like, the truth of the matter is, you don't have to deal with anything. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to deal with someone who's going to be negative towards you, or, you don't have to live like that. And if I have to be the one to tell you, then I will, because I've been through that before. Now, second thing, if you're going to look at my story, and I can see who looks at my story, just go ahead and do the poll or ask me the question or, contribute in some way. If you're a spectator, I get it, but that's just boring. And it really makes me sad that people are kind of, maybe I inspire people, maybe I don't, but it makes me sad that a lot of people are just kind of, it doesn't seem like they want to make the changes that I'm trying to make in my life. And, trying to be a better communicator, trying to be a better partner, trying to be a better musician. And I mean, a lot of people aren't not all my fans are musicians or trying to be producers or something, but it's I see a lot of watching, see a lot of viewing, and I can't tell. And it's like, sometimes you can't tell if they're your supporter or they're just monitoring you to wait for you to fuck up and say something stupid online. Sometimes I can't tell. Sometimes I don't want to know, because it's someone I've, potentially had a really positive experience with in the past. And so it's disappointing when you, find out that it's not all about love and there was like motives or something. That's like really the poison of relationships is motives and, negative, just kind of negative energy just clouds anybody. And it's really important to stress that you kind of have to eliminate a lot of it in your own life by yourself. You have to be the person to do that, because no one else does the work for you. It's not so like cut in stone where you're like, and it's not so set in stone where you can't exist without negativity when you have negativity around. But you kind of have to you have to work your way out of it, and you have to work your way out of these mindsets that have sometimes been put in place by other people. And it's really hard to do that, but you got to be strong. You have to work at it every day. And you have to and a lot of times you're going to have to tell yourself that it's going to be okay. And it's going to not, it's not always going to be like this. You're going to get, your feelings are temporary. That's what it comes down to. Joe Rogan had a really important point where he was talking about emotion and how it might take a back seat in people's psyches as the human condition as an emotional being. And that really struck a chord with me. It kind of made me sad. It made me think that if we're rushing into an era where people's emotions don't matter anymore, and where people's mental health doesn't matter anymore, and where people, don't care to think about these things. Because I think about them all the time, and I'm just a guy in my room in Archer, Florida. So I can't stress enough. Just if you want to bring love to the table, because that is the most fundamental core value I believe that you can provide is love, support. I mean, if you comment, that is gold. If you repost, that is, that's even better. I like to say that a repost is infinitely more valuable than a like. And it's true. It's very odd. You can't ask for you can't always get what you want, but you can more effectively support artists by reposting or retweeting. It's really important to let them know that you're on the same team, and you want that you don't mind. It's like people get stuck in a mentality that they're, this is my victory. These are my fans. It's that whole I win, he loses mentality that people have to get over. We have to break that down. We have to, whatever that is, because success is so relative, and it's so, people measure success in the weirdest ways. Fancy cars and mansions and money, and material wealth is all well and good, but it doesn't. Happiness is not. I read a really interesting. It's probably a tweet or something, but but it's not. And I'm trying to remember it right now, but it's off the top of my head. But now it's I'm struggling with it because it was really poignant. It struck out to me like happiness is something that should be. It's like if you have exponential wealth, your happiness comes in diminishing returns, I believe is the saying. And it's and the point they were making was that, the pursuit of happiness shouldn't involve other people not having basic, needs met, or basic things, which are, human, like things that are inherently human, like a place to live or food to eat or something like that. Like people have a lot of that they're dealing with. And then there's millionaires that that are out of touch with all of that, and that are only concerned with, their money, or, being on the Forbes list, or being, number one in the world, and having the private jet and having the life. And people become addicted to that, and they forget to see that, there's an entire world out there of people that don't have that. And to come full circle, it's not really, happiness is so subjective. It's really a mindset. It doesn't, money is money. It just doesn't, you have to have a very positive, you have to have a reasonable relationship with money. You can't be kind of obsessed with the acquisition of it, because it gets to you. It kind of it turns you into a person, like a monster or something. But at the same time, we need money to survive. It's really, the capitalistic way is flawed in that sense, where we kind of, we have kind of become, our value system has shifted towards money and material things, and, those type of things to achieve happiness, where, happiness should come from within. It should come from who you are as a person, who you associate yourself with. Are you actually happy? Like, I imagine a lot of millionaires are not happy, and they don't know why, and they don't have anybody to relate to. That's kind of a really big issue. It's really sad. So I would say, and a lot of this, people get caught up in an image, and what I mean by that is people they spend so much time and so much energy curating an image on Instagram or social media or Facebook or whatever it is, that they, lead the perfect life, and they're doing everything, and they're, jet setting all over the world and doing everything. And it's just, and that's such an indication that they're probably not just happy with what they're doing. They have to be posting it on social media. They have to get the approval. They have to get the, attention from everybody else that they're doing something. And it really is sad that we've kind of become a society of, placing value in that, like that false imagery of your life, of one's life, and that it's not, oftentimes it's not real. It's not genuine. It's not, it has no purpose except for, making other people feel bad about what they're doing. And it's a very sad thing that we have to kind of deal with, but it really, and it has a lot to do with what we're talking about with, adding value. And, a lot of people think value is that, and they think value is kind of making themselves look really good and making themselves look like the better person or the best person, or, and you have to kind of get out of that mindset where your value is based on, what you're flaunting and what you're, bragging about doing. So anyway, so we're about that time to get going. So I just wanted to let you guys know that I love you so much. And I wish the best for you. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. This has been a presentation of Jerome Strike Beats. Thank you. Goodbye.